Did you know incredible artwork is just around the corner from us? All you have to do is board a train, take a subway, and walk a few blocks to our first visit at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, located on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Want to know a fun secret about the Metropolitan Museum of Art? Everyone calls it the Met. First, you walk up its big, grand staircase. Those wild, magical steps lead right into the grand entrance, where all the art adventures begin. The Met was founded way back in 1870, which means it's more than 150 years old today. It's a super popular place where over 5.7 million people came to visit the Met each and every year. When you step into the Met's main lobby, called the Great Hall, it feels like you're walking into a palace. The huge space was designed over 100 years ago, called Beaux Arts, which means big arches, tall stone columns, and a ceiling so high it makes you feel tiny. It's like the museum is saying, "Welcome to the world of art," right from your very first step. When you walk past the big lobby at the Met, you'll see the grand staircase. It's like a giant set of marble stairs that makes you feel like you're in a movie. People use it to get to different galleries, and it's one of the most iconic spots inside the museum, almost as famous as the artwork itself. I always make a left to get to the balcony of the Charles Engelhard Court. It's a huge, bright space with glass ceilings that let sunlight pour in. A quick walk past the European Painting Gallery to the Met's featured event. Imagine we're stepping into a magic runway where every outfit tells a powerful story. Welcome to Superfine Tailoring Black Style. Right away, we see sharp jackets, shiny shoes, crisp shirts, and hats with personality. These aren't just clothes. They're super suits of confidence. For hundreds of years, Black artists, leaders, and everyday people used style to say, "I belong. I matter. I am amazing." And that's what superfine means here. Super carefully made, super detailed, and super full of meaning. Look at the suits. See the stitches along their lapel? What careful sewing is called tailoring. Tailoring measures cuts, presses, and stitches so an outfit fits just right. When it fits, you stand taller. You feel bolder. And clothes could be an armor, celebration, and art, all at once. Now let's travel in time. In the past, when life was unfair and dressing with dignity, clean shoes, tidy jackets, stylish hats was a way to claim respect. It is said, "I am worthy of being seen and heard," and fashion becomes quite a superpower. Fast forward to modern times, and designers mix history with today. Bright linings, cool patterns, and unexpected fabrics. Maybe you'll spot a tuxedo with a twist, or a coat that looks like classic on the outside, but it is exploding with color on the inside. That's heritage and creativity working together. This is the part of the European Painting Gallery at the Met. These rooms show artwork from famous European artists, painters from places like France, Italy, and the Netherlands. The fancy gold frames, tall walls, and shiny wood floors make the room feel like a treasure box of art. There's kind of a makeover, and the museum team is moving to get things around and setting things up. The people who plan and take care of this are called curators. Curators are like art detectives and storytellers. They decide which painting goes on the wall, how they arrange it, and what story the gallery will tell. They also make sure that the art is safe and it looks its best. So, if you love art, but also love organizing, telling stories, or even designing spaces, you might want to be a curator one day. This is Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait with straw hat. Van Gogh painted himself many times because he couldn't always afford models. Look at the bold brushstrokes. See how the colors swirl and move. It shows not just how he looked, but also the energy and emotion inside of him. This is Little Dancer, age 14, by Edgar Degas. He made it to show the hard work and the dreams of a young ballet student. Look, the tutu fabric is realistic, making her look ready to dance right off the stage. When the work was first exhibited, the original tutu and ribbon shocked the public. But over time, those materials decayed, and museums replaced them multiple times in order to preserve the sculpture's presentation. This beautiful wall called Mihrab, a prayer niche from a mosque in Iran made over 600 years ago. It covered the shiny blue walls and tiles with patterns and writings that honor God. The arch shapes point the way towards Mecca, the holy city for Muslims. You can find it in the Islamic art galleries, where the Met shows amazing art from across the Middle East. Welcome to the Egyptian Way. This part of the Met feels like you're stepping back in time, over 3,000 years ago. Here, you could see giant statues of pharaohs, painted coffins, jewelry, and even real mummies. One of the coolest spots of the Temple de Nur is the ancient stone temple that was built beside the Nile River in Egypt and then brought here to New York. When you walk through, imagine the stories of kings, queens, and everyday people who lived along the Nile so long ago. Now, let's walk through the medieval sculptural hall. The statue here once decorated old churches and castles hundreds of years ago. As we enter the Robert Lechman collection, it's like a treasure chest of art gallery collected by one man, Robert, who loved paintings, drawings, and beautiful objects. Walking in here is like visiting someone's private art gallery filled with masterpieces from different times in history. Here in the American wing, you'll see the glowing stained glass window by Louis Comfort Tiffany. He used this piece of colorful glass instead of painting to make a picture of nature. Around the room, in the American sculptures, are marble figures and bronze statues of peoples, animals, and even heroes. These artists wanted to work there feel alive, just like Tiffany's glowing glass. Together, they tell a story of American creativity in many forms. Now, let's leave the Met and take a train to the Museum of Modern History. Alright, explorers, grab your MasterCard because we're hopping onto the subway. We ride downtown to 53rd Street in Manhattan. Right in Midtown, there's the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA for short. MoMA opened in 2029, almost 100 years ago. And it started with just a few rooms and modern paintings, and now it's one of the most famous museums in the world. This beautiful and exciting artwork on display. Let's exit the elevator, make a left, and enter into a room where we first get to look at a painting by Georgia O'Keeffe. She loved paintings close up of flowers, skies, and shapes of nature. As we walk through the room, we see sculptures by Constantine called The Cook. And there's that shovel on the ceiling by Claes Oldenburg. Now that we're in the exhibition, let's stop and look at something a little surprising. Marcel Duchamp, bicycle wheel on a stool. At first, it doesn't look like art at all. It's literally a bicycle wheel stuck on top of a wooden stool. Picasso even got in on it when he created his famous sculpture Guitar. No visit wouldn't be complete without seeing the painting, The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. This is one of the most famous paintings and loved works in the world. Look at the swirls in the sky, and the glowing moon, and the stars dancing above the little village. As you can see, it's so popular that it's hard to get close. Van Gogh never knew how famous he became, but I think he would be happy to know how much people loved and treasured his artwork today. This is Picasso's bullhead. He turned a bike seat into handlebars and into a bowl. He loved showing how ordinary objects could become art. This is Salvador Dali's Persistent of Memory, the famous painting with melting clocks. It's so popular that it's hard to get close, but everyone loves it because it makes us wonder. And this is The Lovers by Rene Magritte. Two people are kissing, but their faces are hidden by cloth. As we continue to walk through the MoMA, we see artists like Motherwell, video art playing, and the walls of the art filled with Agnes Martin, American painter known for her calm, minimalistic sky. Let's go to the 4th floor, where we'll see a room from the 1960s all the way to now. Look up! There's David Hamas's American flag. Artists on this floor use bold colors, big ideas, and powerful messages to make us think about the world today. This is the flag by Jasper Johns. He painted the American flag using wax and newspaper. Johns wanted us to look at something as we see every day in a new artistic way. Then we go to the next room, where we see Andy Warhol's Campbell's Soup. Warhol was a pop artist, which means everyday things like soup cans, soda bottles, or movie stars are his art. He wanted to show that popular culture, the stuff that we see in stores and on TV, could just be as important as traditional art. By repeating these cans over and over and over again, Andy Warhol turned something ordinary into something unforgettable. This installation is by Donald Judd, a famous American minimalistic artist. Judd created large, simple geometric forms like stacked boxes, cubes, and structures, often using industrial materials such as metal, plexiglass, or painted wood. Instead of making that, he told his story, and that's how he showed people what he did. Let's go down to the third floor of the MoMA. We see contemporary art of today. Here you'll find huge, colorful paintings, strange and exciting sculptures, videos that act like art, photos that tell powerful stories, and installations that can keep up with the whole room. It's a place where artists experiment with everyday ideas and materials that you could imagine. You get to see art like Jean de Buffet, a French painter. And of course, Jackson Pollock. Yes, that is the painting made on the floor in Jackson Pollock's studio. We go and visit his studio at our third grade field trip every single year. And now we could see the very place where his amazing drip paintings were created. Now let's enter this fantastic room. Look around these giant colorful clouds made from hundreds of stuffed animals and toys, all sewn together by the artist Mike Kelly. He wanted to turn something familiar like plush toys into something totally new and surprising. It's fun, a little strange, and it makes us think about our childhood, memories, and imagination all at once. This is my favorite room. Here we see giant steel sculptures by Richard Sierra. Look how huge and heavy they are. Each one weighs a ton. Sierra wanted us to feel the space around the sculpture. Walking near them is like you're inside of a maze of metal. His art isn't just something to look at, it's something to experience. Of course I got hungry and stopped to refuel at Cafe 2 inside the MoMA. It's a perfect place to grab lunch and recharge. Not just myself, but also my phone. I finished my tour at the Abbey Rockefeller Studio Garden. It's an outdoor space filled with trees, fountains, and amazing sculptures. After walking all through the galleries inside, it's the perfect spot to relax, enjoy fresh air, and see art surrounded by nature. After the MoMA, I traveled to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum to see more wonderful art creations of a different kind. At the MoMA, the artists use imagination, swirls of paintings, giant sculptures, and even melting clocks to make you think in new ways. But at Madame Tussauds, the artists use their skills to create lifelike wax figures that look just like real people. One-of-a-kind art shows that dreams and ideas come from, while others shows our real-life faces and details. Both remind us that art can take many shapes. For our friends that were performers at the RCS production of The Lion King Kids, this one's for you. Here at Madame Tussauds, there's a wax figure dressed as the amazing Broadway costumes from The Lion King. Just like the ones that I made for you, you were able to take these stories and costumes and bring these powerful characters to life for the audience. It's a reminder that theater is another form of art, mixing music, acting, dancing, and design all together. I was super excited to see this real-life wax creation of famous artists that I've just learned about the Met and the MoMA, like Salvador Dali with his wild mustache and Pablo Picasso with his bold imagination. Look here, look who it is! It's Andy Warhol, the artist who made everyday objects like soup cans into masterpieces. It felt like stepping into art history, but this time, the artists themselves were standing right in front of me. As we move to the next room, the spotlight shifts from art to athletes. Here we see incredible wax creations of some of the world's famous sports icons, from tennis legends to soccer greats. Each figure captures the energy and determination that these champions held dear to their heart. It was a perfect way to finish our tour of Madame Tussauds, celebrating not only just artists and performers, but athletes who've inspired millions around the globe. So, our art adventure comes to an end. We traveled through the halls of the Metropolitan Museum and MoMA. We saw masterpieces that changed the world. Then we stopped at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, where we saw figures of artists, performers, and athletes come to life before our eyes. But here is the secret behind it all. Every single one of those people, painters, sculptors, actors, athletes, worked hard, practiced with patience, and showed respect for their craft. And that's exactly how we create greatness in our classroom. So what does this mean for each of us? Each of these artists and creators worked incredibly hard, studied their craft, and showed respect for their work. And that brings us to our own classroom expectations. Everything that we do is founded in respect.